Hello, I am roaringbug, and welcome to my Sims 4 speed build. So this picture is a Victorian house that I am going to try and build. Just a disclaimer, I don't own this picture. I had nothing to do with the creation of this picture. I just found it on Reddit, and I wanted to try and see if I can recreate it in The Sims. For inspiration, I usually get my images off Pinterest, or sometimes I take pictures of buildings around my neighborhood or around my area, because I live in New York and there are a lot of buildings, and a lot of them are very interesting, and they range from modern to Art Deco to all sorts of different architectural features on buildings. And I have to say that The Sims has really sparked an interest in architecture that I never had before. Most of the time now, I'll catch myself taking a picture of a building and saying, yeah, I could totally make that in The Sims. The trouble with The Sims is that they are not friendly with curves. So any kind of like organic, ultra-modern building would probably be like a nightmare to make in The Sims. Like the Guggenheim would not be something easily made in The Sims, I could tell you that. So let me talk about this build. So this build took me a while to figure out. It's pretty straightforward, and I have to say the proportions are not exact, but it's kind of hard to translate the scale of buildings in real life to what they scale in The Sims, because it's a grid system and you have to make things fit onto a grid. So right now I'm making this porch and making this open tower, and as you can see right now, I'm trying to put this little, I don't know, what do you want to call it, like this little bump out with a covered porch over the stairs in the front of the house, and it wasn't working. Apparently you can't put a roof piece right next to a fence. If not, you're gonna lose the fence, and I learned that while I was trying to build this porch. So what I ended up doing is making the porch 2 spaces instead of 1, and just dragging out the back of the roof piece so only the hanging trim covers the back, to make the illusion that it's covering 2 square pieces when it's not. And now I'm just putting down roofs on this house, and I'm doing the best I can to follow the image. I don't think I would probably roof this house quite this way if I wasn't using a picture as a reference. In hindsight, I realized that the bump out on the right side of the house, that's supposed to be a double car garage, I actually kind of didn't do it right. There's not really a second floor to that part of the garage space, because when you look at the image, like, I guess there is in real life, there would be, but in The Sims there wouldn't be. It would look more accurate if I just left it as a 1-story garage space, but I like the extra space because I ended up putting an extra bedroom on the second floor over that space. I also don't really like that overhang over that that 3-folded window on the second floor, but you know, that's how the picture had it, so that's how I did it. And I don't really understand this little, like, I don't know what you would call it, that little hat on top of the building. I'm just going to call it that. It looks like a little hat on top of the building. It's not quite a dormer. It's not quite a third floor. It's just this tiny little hat sitting on the top of the floor, on the top of the roof. And I suppose in real life it's probably something to do with venting or bringing light into the house, in the center of the house, like a skylight. I think it looks kind of funny, but you know, it's real, so that's why it's there. And I don't know if you noticed, but this is when I decided to change lots, because I realized this house is too small and I didn't have enough space to make the house bigger. So I moved from a 30 by 20 lot to a 40 by 30 lot. And it's in Newcrest. The other location was in Newcrest before too. So for those who are not quite sure what I mean, Newcrest is that third world in the base game Sims that doesn't have any buildings. When I first got the game, I didn't really know what to do with the world that didn't have any buildings because I wasn't a builder at the time. I was just learning the game and going through the gameplay. But if you are new to The Sims and you're not really sure what to do at Newcrest, what you can do is go on the gallery and just download other people's lots and just fill up the world. And what I normally do is I make Newcrest into the party town, and I put all the cafes and bars and all the hangout places in Newcrest. And I only just put a couple of houses in the smallest lots. So now I'm putting the windows in this house. Yes, and this is when I raised that tiny little hat on top of the building. I was like, it's kind of really small. Doesn't really look like the picture. So I found these windows to put on that top little piece, the hat of the house. I don't know the name of it. I'm so sorry if you know, but I am not an architect. I have no idea what it is. The only thing I know about architecture at all is probably like a required art history class I had to take in college. And the only thing I can recall is flying buttresses in like cathedrals. And that's about it. But, you know, The Sims, like I said, has rekindled my appreciation for architecture. So in the back of this house, I'm putting this tiny little porch. The image that I had of the real life house or architect picture of a house didn't have any other images except the front of the house. So this is me using my pure imagination, trying to figure out what the heck goes in the back of the house. I think it looks fine. I mean, porches are cool. I think I just like, I don't know, put like a barbecue or something out there. And I put a chimney. I sometimes put one or two empty rooms and stack them in order to show where the chimney is in the house, but it didn't have it in the picture and I couldn't really see it. And this is one of the few occasions where I didn't put a chimney on the exterior of the house besides the chimney that goes right on the top of the roof. So now I'm just doing the floor plan. That little square room in the back is going to be a bathroom, but I end up changing it. Like I said, the layout of the house does not translate in The Sims very well. I guess I could probably have made it look more realistic if I made the house even bigger, but by then the scaling would be like too big. Like the house proportions would look right, but the scaling would be massive. So technically, according to the floor plan, the bathroom should be behind the kitchen. But there was no way in heck I was going to be able to fit a dining room in the front. So I was like, you know, that bathroom is just going to go into that tower So it ends up in that tower on the side that has the opening pillars. So the second floor has 2 bathrooms, and I just put down a bunch of lights. I spared you from seeing me put lights everywhere and furnishing bathrooms, because you don't really need to see that. Bathrooms are pretty standard stuff, and I didn't do fancy bathrooms. If I was doing like a modern build, I might have tried for an interesting modern bathroom. But right now I'm just doing an open floor plan for this kitchen. So I just put some bar stools and this hanging pots and pans and a stove, and I changed out that fridge because I thought it's not rustic, it's actually a little bit more modern in here. So I just changed it up. I just kept it a very basic white kitchen with subway tiling in the backsplash. And I just put, I don't know, like a couple of items for clutter. I don't really do too much clutter. And yeah, this is me just trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing with these rooms. So the back here is the living room, but the front room in the front on the left side is going to be a formal sitting room. So technically it has like 2 sitting rooms. One is a living room back here with a TV, and the room in the front is just plainly for sitting. I guess gameplay wise, it doesn't really have much of a purpose. You could probably just, I don't know, turn it into an extra bedroom if you needed, or if you wanted to, you could, I don't know, put a skill building item in there. Heck, if you want, you could put a cupcake machine in there. It doesn't really matter. I just furnished this house for a small family, and I just kept it kind of traditional. So I don't know, it's like, I guess it's traditional. I can't really say what the style is. I just kind of did my best to keep it classy. And then this is when I realized that the chimney is exactly underneath where this bathroom is, and I like lining up my bathroom, not my bathroom, what am I saying? I like lining up the chimney with an actual fireplace. So I was like, that's gotta go. The fireplace leads to this wall. And I was like, oh my god, this space is very narrow. So yeah, it ends up becoming a little reading nook. So I put these armchairs down and a table. And at first I put a pile of books, like a stack of books, but they will eventually go and make way for an actual bookshelf. So yeah, it's just a formal little area for your Sims to go read. So in this area here, this is when I stuck that bookshelf. It's that one, the first one, but I had to test out the other ones. I liked the other one before, the second one, but it was too big. And I put a bust of Princess Cordelia and some plants and curtains. I spared you from seeing me put the same curtains on every window. And I am putting this formal dining room, which doesn't really have too much going on. I just got some paintings, some white, classic kind of furniture, and I just put like some flowers in that table. But right now I'm doing this formal sitting room, so I guess this would be like your, like in a traditional house, this would be like your parlor room, like your formal sitting area to receive guests. So because back in the olden days, in your home, if you were wealthy enough, you would actually have a entertaining space separate from your living space. And because people didn't want you to see their bathroom in their kitchen, so they would have all the formal, all the nice china, all the, like pretty things they'd want you to see, like like a receiving area in the front of the house, and all like the nitty-gritty stuff like your cooking and your cleaning, that all happens in the back of the house. And certain houses that were really wealthy, they would actually have a servant's quarter in the basement or the first floor. That's why you see like in New York, like some houses, they have stairways that lead up to the second floor. That's because the second floor and the third floor was meant for the well-to-do family that owned the home. And the ground floor, the first floor level, was actually meant for servants. And they would bring up all the stuff that the family would need from the first floor to the second floor, which has the fancier entranceway. And that's why on the ground floor you have the entranceway under the stairs. It's like for housekeeping and for house cleaning. But in this house, even though it's like Victorian, I feel like they kind of didn't really have that much separation in the home anymore. And that room to the side, which I totally glossed over, that has the piano, that is a skill building room, because when you play The Sims, you're going to need a skill building room. So like if your sim has a job, let's say they're a musician, they would have to have like at least a guitar or piano to practice their skill in order to get a promotion. So these bedrooms are, I don't know, I kind of thought it'd be like a multi-generational home. So I have 2 full beds. I'm guessing like maybe one double bed is for the grandparents, and the other double bed is for the kids that are married, and then the grandkids, they have their 2 bedrooms here. So I'm thinking like a child and a toddler live in this house with their parents and their grandparents. The more peach colored red room, I'm thinking more grandparent. And the blue room, I'm thinking, is more of the primary bedroom. And I just made them very basic. I did put a little bit of clutter. The catalog is, the Bill Buy catalog is kind of all over the place. That's why you see me jumping around. Because when you have items, they don't really make much sense in The Sims where stuff is placed. So I kind of just say, oh, okay, I could put this here, even though has nothing to do with the room I'm working on. And I'm putting down some pictures on the walls because, you know, they make your Sims happy. They get like a positive mood when things are decorated nice. Also, it's nice to have a little bit of something decorating in the room. Like I said, I'm not really big on decor, on clutter decor, but which is kind of a shame because The Sims, they're going on a whole craze doing clutter. Like they did like a bathroom clutter and like an everyday clutter kit, and I was like, oh my god, it's a lot of clutter, and I don't even do that much clutter in my gameplay. And the only thing that I was into for clutter was a bathroom kit made by Felix, Andre, and Harry, because they have free CC and they're doing like a whole bunch of like IKEA styled furniture. And, you know, I thought that was pretty neat, and that's what I really wanted to get. Not even like the actual stuff from The Sims. And right now I'm just testing out all the lights. I put a light in that tower, but I thought it didn't make much sense because you don't have any access to the tower. And I could put a ladder to that tower, to that open tower, but then it would mess up the lighting inside the house because you're going to get outdoor lighting unless I enclose the top part in a room. And I didn't want to go through all of that, so I just left it alone. And I didn't want Sims to travel into this backyard unless they were invited into the house, so I closed it off with this bush fence. And I realized I needed a gate, so I just put down that base game gate. I don't even use gates that often. And these are all debug landscaping. So, you know, you just do the cheat code to get debug items and they have no cost in-game. And I found these 2 debug cars and I figure, you know, it's supposed to be a garage. I'll put down some cars in front of it. Though, frankly, in the picture of the house, it doesn't look like those cars can get in there anyway. Maybe in the back, I don't know. I can't see it in the front. But I just thought, well, there's enough space to park a car, so I'll just leave it like that. And now I'm just doing some, you know, like I said, landscaping here. I raised the platform on this house to 5 steps. And I gotta say that I enjoyed raising it that high because normally I would raise it only 3 steps, but then you kind of have some plants poking into the house. But when it's 5 steps, there is no issue with any of the plants poking inside the house. Because sometimes if you put a bush too close to the house, you know, you're gonna see like a leaf or something sticking out of the wall. But when they're like, it's the house is on a high enough foundation that you can't even see any of the bushes. If you're seeing some text every now and then in my video, it's because I did this build on Twitch and I did it live on stream, and I had a friend talking to me while I was building this house, which is helpful because, you know, I don't really have that big of a following, so I appreciated having someone else to talk to while I was making this. I made this house in such an ungodly hour. It was so late at night, but I just couldn't sleep, and I ended up just making this house. It took me, I don't know, like 2, maybe 3 hours to make this house. I think it was just 2 hours. And I think it looks pretty close to what the image is from the one I grabbed off of Reddit. I didn't enclose this area completely with bushes because I thought that'd be a little overkill. So I just did it partially on one side. I feel like in hindsight, this house could have used like a monkey bar or something. Oh, okay, so this topper on the house is a chicken. It's one of the sculptures you could probably put on a mantle or a table inside your house, but I scaled it up 1, and I used the, what is it, Control 9 key after you use bb.move objects to raise that object up. So that chicken is my topper on my house. And I thought the front could use a little bit more structure, so I put this low fence to, you know, keep everything in. And this back garden should, yeah, I put these stones in, so that is just terrain paint, just so it looks like there's a footpath coming out from that side entranceway on the yard. So now I'm into my screenshots. So if you like this build, please like, subscribe, or leave me a comment. Again, this house is completely base game, and you can get off the gallery at roaringbug, all one word. And thank you for watching. Bye.